This is Tuğçe. Today we are gonna do some sketches and color it with my Miss Renton watercolor. This is my sketchbook I've been using for years now. Unfortunately, I was supposed to finish it sooner, but I ended up liking it so much, so I bought like a couple of other sketchbooks to do like random sketches and decided to use this one when I shoot the videos or when I actually feel like, I'm gonna do something good today. I don't know if it happens to you also. Like sometimes I feel like drawing, or I feel like I want to feel the ease of sketching something down. You know, it always makes me feel calm and happy in the moment, connecting with my inner self. So, but whenever I start sketching, I know that if it's gonna end up being good or not, unless I'm recording it, because when I record it, I can't really see what I'm drawing. I have to keep my head very away from the sketchbook so I don't interfere between the camera and the sketch. So I'm like half blind, half oblivious of what I'm doing. But other than that, I know what I'm doing or how it's gonna be. What I was saying, where did I start? Actually, I forgot the beginning of the sentences when I come to end of it. I am so distracted. Anyway, so I'm using this sketchbook only for special occasions such as today. I think it's gonna finish soon and I'm gonna do a like sketchbook tour over the years. We are gonna see the process, and I sometimes go back and look at my old sketches and I'm like, wow, it wasn't bad before also. Like I don't see like crazy changes on the like talent wise, like improvement wise. I just see like quite big changes between like what I used to draw. I was doing so many like urban sketches, like boats, birds before, and girls forever. But the latest pages of my book is mostly like natural landscapes and girl portraits, because I can't never give up on that. But today I'm doing a little change and I'm doing kind of like urban sketch. It's from a reference photo. Actually, I combined a couple of reference photos I found. When it comes to like drawing landscapes or like doing some urban sketching, I can do it from my imagination. But if I'm gonna color it, I prefer to have a like reference photo to don't mess up with the color. I don't really mess up, but like I stick to certain colors that I always use, and I wanna have some more variety in the sketchbook and on my palette too. So the reference photos are always helping me. I mostly use like Pinterest, like everyone else, I think, and ending up finding like 100 amazing reference photos, spending 2 hours looking at them, which one, until the moment like I'm like, come on Tuğçe, just pick one, start with it, you can do the other one later. Anyway, so whatever I choose, mostly I go for the like similar references, at least color wise, because we all have a taste, we all have something like we are drawn to, and I'm mostly going for a bit faded, vintage looking reference photos. I actually have so many reference photos that I took like when I was traveling, but they are kind of lost in my photo album, so I should actually dig into that and organize that, but I'm gonna let the future Tuğçe deal with it, because the Tuğçe right now is busy with something else. Let me tell you about the process of the watercolor. When I do watercolor, there are actually a couple of different techniques, but what I mostly go for is starting with the lightest shade and go darker and the darker and the darker, layer by layer. Speaking of, I had to tell you that if you're looking for like watercolor paper or watercolor like sketchbook, you should target something above 150 grams in my opinion, because I use so much water and I'm using so many layers, and if the paper is not thick enough to hold the water, it's just gonna ruin after a while. So it's gonna be a waste of time and money in the same time. So make sure that it's something above 150 so you can apply some water on it and have the nice watercolor effect without the painting actually ruining the page after, or going through it, or actually getting wavy, you know, like when you apply so much water. It happens even in good papers. If you're like working on a single paper, it's better if you tape it to your desk or tape it on like some surface that which is hard, so the paper not gonna get so wavy. If you're going for a big piece, most of the people apply like layer of water for paper to loosen up, and if it's gonna get wavy a bit, then they tape it and start to work on it. So the paper is already a bit loose, so you know that it's not gonna get more wavy. It still does a bit depending on how much water you apply. But what I was saying, like this sketchbook, I think it was 170 gram, 180 gram. So whenever I see something about 150, I'm jumping on it. I'm like, jackpot, yeah, that's gonna That's gonna be good. I'm gonna try to find something similar to this sketchbook. I don't know. I bought it when I was traveling, so I'm not sure if I can find it again. Maybe it's time for me to try something new. I'm so attached to this one. Luckily, it's finishing soon. It's time to move on for me. So what I was saying about a watercolor. I'm always going layer by layer. I'm starting with the lightest shades and always make sure to leave some white areas. Mostly people who just started watercolor, they are doing this mistake. They are just painting everywhere, applying color everywhere. And this is not good. Watercolor is perfect with the little white gaps in between. The professional artists know how to use it so well, especially if you're doing like urban sketching or landscapes. The little whites like make the magic happen. Actually, I don't know, I'm so like hype about it because it changed the whole painting. And you know, some artists are like, I'm sure you saw some samples before, they are focusing on one area and painting, they are very detailed and leaving the rest of the painting like sketch-like, and sometimes using their gel pen to add little details on this sketch-like parts, and the color is just like focus on one part. I love that style a lot. Sometimes I try to do it, but I'm a bit so unorganized to do it, so I'm like, I paint here too, la la la, I paint there too, and I ended up painting most of the parts, but trying to make sure I leave some white areas like I did on this painting. Actually, in the beginning of the painting, I use wet on wet technique, which is you're applying the colors on the top of each other before the previous layer is fully dry, so the colors are mingling nicely and you're having this nice watercolor effect. They are fading into each other very well. If I'm putting the base color, that's what I go for. But to add details like I did on the bricks, I'm waiting for the first layers to get dry fully, so the bricks are not gonna go and mingle with the other areas. That color just gonna stay there, so those are perfect for the details. So if you're on the stage of applying little details, or you want to like contours the edges of this color to be clear, make sure the layers, previous layers, are fully dry. The thing is, with the watercolor, it's getting dry so fast, it's not like oil paint, so you don't have to wait too long. Or you can focus on the other parts while these parts are getting dry, like I did actually. While I was adding bricks, another thing I pay attention to is you realize I didn't use the same color. The bricks are overall like orangish, reddish, but I use different shade of orange and the red. All together I add some like burnt umber inside also, because even the bricks are like one color, even all the bricks are red, let's say, they never all look the same red. Some are exposed to sun a bit more, some is a bit on the front and some are on the background, so they all reflect the light differently. So in the real world, actually they never look all the same shade of red unless they just been produced and in a perfect shape. But in this building, clearly it's there for years, so make sure having like different shades of the same color or a couple of similar colors side to side to have more like realistic and organic look. Well, after I add the bricks, I actually supposed to wait a bit longer to go for dark shades, but the thing is with me, before adding the shadows or like black details, I can't really see where I am going. I mostly start adding the shades middle of my painting. That's a bit confusing, most of the artists doesn't do that, but that's the way I go. I have to add some darker colors to know that if I'm on the right place, if it's going good, if everything looks alright. And here I am adding some shadows here and there. Deciding where the light is coming from is very important, so I already knew it's gonna be from the right side, so I'm adding more darker shades on the left side of the painting to make sure that it remains realistic. So if you're doing something similar, make sure you know where the light is coming from and avoid applying so many shadows on the left side when you're detailing the pieces or the parts of the painting. Another thing that I can mention right now is the choosing your brush wisely. When I do like portraits or landscapes, I mostly go for round brushes. That's like my saver. You can do details or you can do like general wash with it. It's perfect for blending, it's perfect for detail, it's perfect for coloring the larger area. But when it comes to urban sketching or something a bit less organic, I go for flat cut one. Flat cut one have this nice edgy, more industrial kind of looking effect, which I like a lot, and I use it here too. On both like to apply the base color and on the details like bricks, I have this tiny flat cut brush. I was just pulling it down little by little and I don't have to do much. The brush is already giving the effect there. So actually brush matters, especially like if you're not a beginner. When you're a beginner, it's more important to get to know the watercolor. Then you can invest on the brush. I'm saying invest because brushes are like fucking crazy sometimes. Like synthetic ones are still okay, affordable, and there are some amazing synthetic ones. You don't have to go to like real hair brushes, but like to invest on a brush is something you should consider when you're comfortable with watercolor first. You can have a set of like round brushes with like 3-4 different sizes, and it's gonna be okay in the beginning at least. What I'm doing at the moment, I'm putting some tips here and there for in case you're curious about the watercolor and want to have some general knowledge about it. But like when it comes to this kind of paintings, I always use my gel pen and I love it. It's the G-Tech gel pen. I love it because the tip is so thin and it's not mingling with water. So even you apply water on it, it's gonna stay still. It's not gonna just fade away. This is perfect because here I want details to remain there. I don't want them to like fade away or mingle with the other colors so much. So this pen is perfect. It's kind of like my go-to when I add those kind of like little details on a watercolor painting. And it doesn't look so odd with the watercolor because yeah, ink is different. So some ink paints has like this different texture and reflection, so you can see it directly. It's just too upfront on the painting and I don't like it. But this one, as it's very thin and the ink is not super strong or glossy, it's actually looking natural. And here like I can spend 2 hours, which actually I did, adding those details because I'm a psychopath and I love it. I can just like get lost on the paintings and adding details here and there. And as I mentioned before, I like adding darker shades, and this is actually bringing the paintings to more like different dimension. It looks way more 3D, way more realistic. I love this step of it. I'm starting to see like, okay, it's getting somewhere. It started to look good. This is my happy place, as you can understand. Mostly people adding those like dark details on the end of the painting, but my process is a bit more confusing because I'm a bit indecisive. Okay, I start very well actually. I start with a lighter shade, going layer by layer, putting the base color, adding the little details. Then actually I should add like shadows and go for the last like darker shade, blackish details. But what I do after the middle step, I mostly go for dark shades and the details to see where I'm standing, like if it's enough, if I did enough, or if I need to add some more details with watercolor, if I need to add some more shadow with the watercolor, or if it's actually good enough so I can just leave it there, which is never the case because I don't know how to leave things alone. You know, that's a general problem that I am facing with. I think so many artists facing with it, like none of the paintings looks finished to me. I always see some parts need to be improved, but especially on watercolor, like on oil paint, you can add layers and the layers and make changes on the areas you don't like. But watercolor is a transparent media, and especially I am using so much water, so mine is like extra transparent, and all the layers you put before and you're gonna put after gonna be visible and there somehow. And there is no paper can deal with 100 layers of watercolors, so your paper gonna get damaged, so you don't have much chance. There is more like you have like 1-2 shots. If you move quickly you can save some parts, but in my case I am like, okay, before making final decision, let's add some more like general details and see that where I need to add some more of other things. And here you can see I decided that this gel pen also made my bricks looks a bit faded and backgrounded. I want them to be more under the spotlight, so I am adding a bit vibrant red on them. Not all of them, of course, like I said before. Just here and there, some areas need to be look brighter and has a bit more pigment for them to like stand out. It's already looking better actually. As I told you, I can't help but add things here and there, so I'm adding a little bit shades here, down there, and I decided to go back to my gel pen to add like the final dark touches. I hope it's gonna be final because most probably I'm gonna go back to watercolor and the gel pen, watercolor, gel pen, and watercolor and gel pen again and again and again. And I know it might be a bit confusing. Some artists, when they paint it, they just know like, okay, this is good, this is enough, I can move on to details now. But I'm not one of them. I'm not there yet. I don't know if I'm gonna be there one day or not. It doesn't really bother me. That's how I work and I'm so used to it. But maybe if you want to be more like organized, which is a bit harder with the watercolor, but it's not like impossible or something, you can train your eyes over the years and with so much practice that you can know, okay, I had enough. This shade's gonna be just so good, like I don't need to do anything more. Well, clearly I'm not there. And about adding shadows, I wanna say something too. Like when you're adding shadows, reflections on the watercolor, make sure you add so much water on the paint so it's quite transparent. So when you add the like darker shade, like dark blue or dark brown or even black, the colors and the details underneath still visible because your mixture gonna be like quite transparent, so it's gonna give actual realistic shadow effect. And make sure the layers underneath are fully dry before you're applying your shadows on your painting. I think I played with it enough, but I wanted to add an adjustment layer. Yeah, you can add an adjustment layer on the watercolor. How I do is like I wanted to look a bit brighter and more like sunlighted effect. So I use this like yellow orange, add so much water on it so it's quite transparent. It's just gonna be like little touch on the overall color to even them out. And I'm applying it on overall painting, but where the colors are too bright or too dark, like I avoid to applying this on the white areas. I wanna leave some bright whites without any touch on it. And where you use like very black paint, because once you apply the adjustment layer, even the layer underneath was dry, it can still activate the black color and bring the black color around and fade it with the rest of the color. And if black mixed with other colors, it becomes muddy. So make sure you are not touching your very black areas. As you see, after adjustment layer, it looks more vibrant and the colors look more united. That's how I feel. I'm still adding 1 or 2 last touches and details. I tend to use white gel pen also if I do some like, I don't know, too much painting. The light is not there enough. And here I actually have enough white, so I don't really need it. But with my gel pen, I'm still adding little details before I decide to let it go. I think here we come to the end of this painting. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy listening me talking nonsense and giving some useful tips here and there. Let me know what you think of this video. If you want more videos like this, I'll see you guys very soon on the next video. Ciao!